This animation is definitely the biggest animation project I've ever completed and released. Your Idol was a scene I've been eyeing down to animate for so long, and I knew it was going to be my biggest challenge yet. Going in, I needed to be smart when creating this project, and now you'll see how I was able to accomplish it. Hey everyone, Chrissagi here from Jougen Productions. Today we're going over every detail on how this animation was made, from the builds and rigs to the animation process. So let's just jump right into it, starting from the beginning. Every asset you saw in the animation was actually all created by me, minus some crouch skins in the background. Assets include the build of the stage as well. That's right, even the stadium background was built by me. And of course, I needed reference images. So I went through the movie and screenshotted every possible angle of the stadium to get every detail down in the build. When it came to building, I knew I needed to get this done as soon as possible. So beforehand, I installed the Axiom mod. This was the biggest game changer ever, as with all the more complex tools I had, the easier it was to create all kinds of specific shapes. After the main build was finished, I needed to make the skins for our Saja boys. Like before with the build, I screenshotted many scenes of them in their outfits throughout the movie. I'm honestly really proud of the skins I made for them, as they're the most movie accurate outfits I've made so far that also look really good. For Mira and Zoe, I kinda got lazy, so I searched on Planet Minecraft for golden outfits for them. I found two that I liked, edited out only the outfits, and pasted my own Mira and Zoe template. Credits to the creator who made the original designs. Fun fact, the rigs for the Saja boys and their demon forms were created well in advance and were tested in a very short animation before this project. And trust me when I say this, there were many technical problems when the animation process began for your idol. First problem was, there were no wrists on the models.
But what the hell, boy?
Any more complex hand motions couldn't be achieved without them. So I had to go into Model Bench and quickly add a wrist joint to the Steve and Alex models. Then there were the fingers. The first design I liked, being that they're sharp to replicate them having claws, but they seriously were not practical to animate. All because every single finger was 3 separate segments, meaning I would have to copy and paste keyframes to each and every part. So I quickly ditched those models and to create a very simplistic design. I still wanted them to have claw-like features, so I had to experiment with adding one mesh at their fingertips. Eventually I settled with the current model you see now, although I feel like I could have done better if I had given myself more time. Even the hats I modeled were resized during animation. The top in the beginning of production was too thick, which looked off for some scenes. I resized them down to the end, of course. Since I modeled the hats, I also made the beads that come off the hats as well. And lastly, the character rigs along with the face rigs are original and were created by me as well. Created for all the animations I made and were slightly modified for this project. Finally comes the animation process. This definitely takes the crown for the longest amount of time and work put into this project. When I started this project, I wanted to completely replicate the original into Minecraft the best I could. The software I used to make this animation was Minimator, literally the most beginner level program. But around this time it's evolved drastically, and I for sure was going to put all of its updates to good use, especially since I was using specifically the community build version of Minimator. In the beginning, I actually didn't know how to replicate the animation style that Sony used. It wasn't until when the first half of animation was done that I learned how to make the choppy animation style. By then, it was too late. I actually animated everything at 18 FPS, so when quick movements happened it would naturally look choppy. So if I would have changed the frame rate to 30 FPS, it would completely ruin the timeline and I would have to start from scratch. So I had to make do with what I got. I added any choppy motion whenever I could that would look good and not sloppy. Unlike Blender, I can't import a video and sync it with the timeline. So for camera cuts, I edited the original audio to have pop sounds to indicate the scene changed. For movements and choreography, I had to sync it with myself by hearing and timing. Any other added sound effects would make the audio chaotic to work with. Back to the beads on the hats. Since I was using Minimator, there is no automatic physics simulations, so I hand animated each and every one. Of course, I was smart about animating them. When choreography and main animations were finished, that's when I would select each pair of beads and animate them at the same time on each of the saja boys. That way, they all have the same keyframes without having to copy paste them everywhere. The visual effects in this animation was definitely an improvement from my other past animations. First was the crowd background. In a different project file, I took blank Steve models, flattened them, posed them 3 different times and rendered them out as PNGs. That's how I had an animated crowd in the background the whole time. A bunch of 2D planes. 2D planes became the lifesaver throughout this project, as since the project file was getting heavier and more laggy, they never impacted the performance by any major amount. Which was very important because there's one major factor to why performance was getting worse. Because of my animator, I can't manually select sections of the build to make them illuminate light, so each and every part of the build that are lights are different imported world segments. This definitely impacted performance from the very start, and I had to work with it the whole time. Speaking of performance, this animation didn't just have one project file, it had 2 project files. The first and main being just of the saja boys, and the second being only the crowd animations. I took advantage that the crowd camera cuts included only themselves and not the saja boys being visible. The other improvement was the lighting done in this animation. The community build of MyAnimator actually allows light groups, a setting normal MyAnimator doesn't have. This allowed me to do some lighting techniques I wasn't able to do before, which made the scenes look a whole lot better visually. When all the animations were done and ready, I rendered everything from the main project file and the crowd project file. The time it took to render was over 5 hours, just for barely 2 minutes of animation. The first render of course wasn't final either, because after all the animation polish, there were still animations to clean up after that. I had to re-render the main file 5 times to get the final result you see now. Even after all that, it was still worth it. After compiling all the footage, we have the final product. This was a wild roller coaster of an experience as an animator. It was certainly the hardest project I had to work with, and it really taught me a lot of things that could help me out a lot in the future. This project first started back on August 1st and ended November 15th. From creating the build to the skins, rigs, models, and finally the animation. I'm really glad I got to finish this animation, and I'm really glad a lot of you enjoyed it. It really means the world to me. So yeah, that's pretty much how my Your Idol animation came to be. Thank you so much for watching this behind the scenes. Be sure to also check out my current and next animation project that I'm working on as well. An update on that project will be coming along soon, so stay tuned for that. All info will be linked in the description. If you want to show any more support, share the video around. I'd appreciate if the video gets more recognition, because you can see I really put a lot of hard work into it. Ooh, one final note before we end it here today. I've heard in reply to you guys, you're wondering if the rigs and models are public or released. As of now, none of the models are going to be publicly available. The real main reason is my current rigs are pretty outdated, and I'm currently remodeling a whole repolished rig model. It's for the sake of making my projects more easier and manageable to work with. The rework will improve animation flow and overall visual looks. I'll plan to release my character rig and maybe other Your Idol models once my next big animation project is completed and released. I can't give an estimated time when that'll happen, but stick around when my last channel video of this year releases. And another thing, there's a hidden SpongeBob Easter egg in the animation. It's this image you'll be looking for, and it's hiding pretty well, so good luck. And that's it for me. I'm Chrissagi from Jougen Productions, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you all next time. See you guys.